Hey guys, quick update. Today and maybe over the next 3-4 days we are supposed to get bucket loads of rain. Bit of a snapshot of the weather here. So inside jobs are the only thing we can do. So we're still on the tanks. We're gonna get a fair chunk of those done, but I'm also going to have a go at welding up the stainless opening that goes around the watertight door. So I'll just flip the camera around and I'll show you the steel that we've just managed to secure. So in the back of the race truck here you can see all of our steel. So this is 316 stainless. We've got some 100mm by 6, which is going to form the platform, well sorry, not the platform, it's going to form the rim of the watertight door that goes through our freezer room engine bay bulkhead, and also some 30mm by 6 flat bar. This is going to form the top and bottom hinges of our pantograph hinges for our door. We've also got the other stainless for the pantograph hinges on order, and that'll be here hopefully next week. So yeah, we're going to be making some progress on those shortly. So we're also going to be grinding the doors. So the doors for the lounge still need to be ground. They're all welded up, but we just need to deal with that side of things from the grinding point of view. I need to also cut the window that's in one of the side doors. So the last side door to be finished just needs to have its window cut into it. So that's yeah, one of the major jobs that we're getting into this weekend. But I also wanted to show you what Jess has been working on. This is her lounge. Look at this. So she's managed to get heaps of the lounge painted. She's got a couple of coats on most of it. She's done all of that front room there. We haven't done the roof yet, and she's got pretty much all of that wall done, and then sort of see all the way down along the bottom there and along the top. We've got a wee bit of grey up there we have to coat up. So we've gone over, if ever there was any little issues with rust or something, we've gone through and dealt with them. That's why there's a few little spots around the roof and stuff like that. But yeah, we're actually going to be recoating all of this roof as well. So we want lots and lots and lots of paint. We don't want any rust. We'd rather have, you know, dozens of coats of paint just to make sure that there's not going to be anything going on. So yeah, that's what she's been working on. This is what we woke up to this morning. So it's a bit hard to see. There's bucket loads of rain coming down though. It was raining quite a bit harder than this earlier on, and you can sort of see all the water there. The yard did start to flood out, as it often does earlier today. You can sort of see all of this big line of water here. That gets significantly deeper. It gets sort of, I don't know, 3/4 of a foot deeper, or maybe whatever that is, 18 centimeters, something like that at times. Yeah, it's pretty difficult to do any sort of outside work at the moment, so we have a plan.
Don't know why there's no sun up in the sky. Stormy weather since my man and I ain't together.
You might be wondering why we are painting our room 1980s brown. Okay, it absolutely doesn't matter what colour we paint this, you're not going to see it. So every single one of these panels behind me, roof, walls, front wall, the whole lot, is getting covered up by insulation. So where we're going, it's pretty cold, and we need to make the boat as warm as absolutely possible. So we have a pretty chunky insulation regime that's going to be put on top of all of this. So all of this paint here is basically, it's water-based paint. I know a lot of people are going to balk at that, but basically we need, because of Jess's health conditions, she can't be around any real full-on chemicals like 2-pack and oil-based paints and stuff, basically make her organs go berserk. So we paint with the paint we need, whether it's oil-based, 2-pack, whatever, and then we put water-based on top, and it seals out this specific water-based, for some reason, seems to seal out the smell of all of the other stuff. So that's why we do it. So we're painting water-based on top of our oil-based etches and things that we've used, and that'll seal out the smell, and then we can put our insulation on top of that. So this paint will be covered up, so colour doesn't really matter. However, we've got 1980s brown going on.
Stormy weather since my man and I ain't together.
So I'm not 100% sure if you can hear the wind, probably not, I'm under a big canvas cover. But yeah, so underneath the boat, this is my grinding workshop for the day. It's pretty foul weather, it's bucketing down, probably can't really see it behind me, but yeah, it's just constant drizzle and yeah, rain, it's pretty awful. So we're getting into the grinding of these doors. So the door frame and the 10mm by 10mm box section, and then we've also got a piece of 3mm skin welded on. So we've got to go through, cut this off and then grind it all up so that it's nice and clean. Then I've got to cut the window out of the door up here. And then I need to, the door has a curve in it, so when we welded it, it obviously warps. That's pretty standard. But we need to go through and basically bend, like press that bend out, so it's going to be something, I don't know quite how we're going to solve that yet, but yeah, basically probably stick it on a couple of blocks and then put something bloody heavy in the middle, maybe just edge the ute up onto it or something that's got a good couple of 100 kgs of weight on one wheel. I don't know, might be something less dramatic. See how we go. This limit drip is making life interesting. You can sort of see it's running all the way along the chine, all the way down here, coming from one of the scuppers up above us there, down the hull and then sliding all the way along. Seems to have positioned itself perfectly where I need to stand, so that's kind of fun. So what I'm doing, as you can sort of see, I'm basically slicing all the way along. I'll bring the camera over and I'll show you the progress. So you can see here I'm slicing it, I don't know, maybe a couple of mil out, cutting through some of the welds and so on, but basically slicing it out from the edge of that 10 mil box section. What I'm going to go through, once I've gone around and done that all the way around, I'm then going to go through with a grinder wheel and then a flapper wheel and just clean it off so that it's essentially flush with that with this 10 mil box section here, because this forms our seal and that's obviously the outside of the door. We want it to look pretty schmick. So yeah, we'll get into it and carry on. Alright, that's enough grinding for now. I'm getting covered in water and standing in muddy puddles. This is kind of getting ridiculous. Let's try something else. So I'm putting together a little shelf for Jess. It's basically a piece of, just a piece of wood with another piece on top like that, glued on. This is the fiddle, and I'll make fiddles on each end as well. I actually just glue the whole thing together. I don't screw and nail or do anything like that, and then it just allows me to sand it all back because we varnish this. And then on top of this I'll have a little stainless thing up the top here on the wall that it goes to, so that the computer can slide in the back. So yeah, we'll get stuck in. I don't do a lot of woodworking, so I'm pretty amateurish when it comes to wood stuff, but I'll give it a go. It's a shelf, can't really bugger it up. My plan for gluing this wood together, so see if I can assemble it and then I'll show you what I'm doing. So I'm basically just gonna do that. So I'm essentially creating a box. So I'm creating this. It's basically, so I've got my shelf and then I put a fiddle on the front and a fiddle on each end, and that's gonna be my shape. And it is cut too big on purpose, so it sticks out in every dimension, and then I sand all the corners rounded, and I actually just get my grinder and my flap wheel and clean the crap out of it that way. But yeah, so that's my plan. see if we can start doing this together. And this is the finished product of the shelf. Turned out quite well. Got a couple of little simple brackets just holding it on, with the fiddles and everything all glued in, and then the corners basically rounded off. You can see that, so that it doesn't matter where you hit, you end up hitting a rounded surface. But I found this neat little, it's actually a door handle, but I bought it on purpose because the whole point of the shelf was to hold the Jess's MacBook. But yeah, with this door handle we can slide it in like that, because this is actually a door, so if I move that door there's no way that the actual laptop can fall. So yeah, turned out pretty good, happy with that. So it is still a disgustingly grey, muggy day. Like a bloody quagmire around here. I don't know if you can see, but there's like, not really showing up in the camera, but there's just puddles everywhere. Anyway, I've been in the tank for the last hour and a half, something like that. And that big pile of dirt there, that bucket, half bucket of dirt, and then that vacuum cleaner half full of dirt and gunk, is all of the junk that's come out of the bottom of the tank so far today. That is not rust, that is literally dirt. The tanks are gone down to basically red lead paint, so I know that they're not rusting. Yeah, it's just, that's the amount of dirt and junk that's been accumulated over the last, I don't know how many years since the last clean of this tank. Gives you an idea of what you need to look out for with your diesel fuel tanks. Yeah, so probably more than my fuel filters could have dealt with. So I've just climbed out of the tanks and had a shower because it was disgusting in there. But I have managed to figure out I can water blast them back to pretty much white metal, so really, really clean and beautiful. I don't need to use sand, but it's incredibly slow. Sand would definitely speed it up. So I'm just sort of pondering how I'm going to do this. I'm either going to stick with water blasting and just accept that that's going to be good but slow and not perfect in some areas, or alternatively sandblast. If I sandblast, it opens up a few extra challenges. I've got to cut some more holes in the bottom of the boat so that I can get the sand out of the boat easier, because at the moment there's lots of sort of like, you know, holes and bits and areas that the sand would stick into pretty easily and stay there, and it's just a pain in the ass trying to get them out. So yeah, just have to ponder how we're going to do that. So this is the door that I'm working on. I came down, it's filled up with water, so not surprised. It's kind of like a bathtub, which is kind of nice. At least I know it's watertight. So yeah, got to clean all of that out and let's start the grinding on it. So I've just been cleaning up this edge, getting it all flush, and I've just noticed I've made a massive stuff up. So on the other, so there's two of these doors. The other door's finished. On the other one, I welded this bar on, this 10 by 10 box. I welded it onto the frame first, then ground the welds down, and then welded the 3mm skin on top of that. And that worked quite well because I wasn't really chopping away the welds. However, I did this door slightly different, and I welded the skin on first, and then I put the 10 by 10 box on, so it meant I had to weld into the edge, hoping that I'd get enough penetration and that it would hold, and that is not what's happened. The welds have let go, so there's a whole pile of welds because I've basically ground all of the weld away. There's bugger all left holding it. The skin is held on the inside by big solid welds in there, but I need it held onto this piece of steel here. So I'll pull the camera up and I'll show you what's happened. Almost every single weld is cracked. So that one there's cracked, there's nothing holding it. I can see that one's starting to crack, that one's starting to crack, that one's gone, that one cracked from there to there, and there's a tiny bit holding it, so that'll go. that one's cracked, that one's cracked, and that one's cracked. So that's pretty disappointing. It's my own fault. I didn't do it right. I should have known. So I'm going to fix it now. What I'm going to do is grind into it. I suppose this is actually one of the downsides of me not being a welder, is I lose time, because I'll do this, I'll make a mistake, and then I have to redo it a different way, a way I know I probably should have done it in the first place. Still, live and learn. This is my 3-year welding apprenticeship. So I'm going to grind out a big deep V in there, basically where any of those welds were. I'm going to grind out a big deep sort of chasm, and then fill that up with weld, and then pretty much just flatten the surface off so I don't have to dig away at any of the weld. So yeah, that's a job for another day, I think.